How's it, guys? How you doing? Good evening. Good evening. So today is Friday, and was quite an interesting day. Hey, I know a lot of traders out there were very excited about NFP. So my main focus on this short video that I'm gonna do is just about how I did my forecasting and how I actually take my entries on NFP. And so I only took about 2 trades. So I'm just gonna quickly do a breakdown. What was my forecasting and how my analysis was. Okay, guys. So what I'm gonna start with doing is what I'll start with for now is Aussie dollar. So overall structure for Aussie dollar, as you can see, I usually do top-down analysis. So I'll quickly go to the daily and just show you guys what I was looking at previously. Okay. So you can be able to know where I was coming from and how my structure has been. Remember, it's very, very important if you do a top-down analysis and you're able to see your overall structure, okay? Even regardless of the news, you still be able to understand and know what your pair is doing and what has been happening, okay, with your pair. So you'll be able to understand the price action and the price pattern. So overall, you can see what has been happening with Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar came from a bullish momentum. We're actually still in an uptrend on Aussie dollar. So we had an impulse correction, and then we had another impulse and then correction. Okay, so at this particular time, Aussie dollar has been making much bigger correction. It's a much bigger structure. That being said, this has been our overall weekly and structure. Okay, so it's quite big. We are still pushing to the upside, but there's still room for all these area to be corrected as well. Okay, so we just need to stay neutral and not really wanting price to really do what we want price to do, but rather than wait and see what price shows us. Okay, so as we go down to the daily, guys, you can see I marked up my lowest point. This is my lowest point here. This one, I'll remove all the drawings so we can redo it again, so you guys can be able to just see what's my mindset and how I look at the markets and the charts. Okay, so I marked up my lowest point. This is my lowest point here. As you can see, price moved impulsively and then started correcting from these areas here. So this is where my first touch is, and that's my second touch. And then impulse. So this is much of a descending channel, sort of. It's a descending channel, and then unfortunately, the support here failed to hold, so price broke right through that support and then created a new trend. So the trend actually changed here, guys. So what we would have expected here was not to see this. Price was supposed to respect this level. So what I'm saying is price was supposed to actually create something like this. After that impulse, price was supposed to move back up. Okay, guys, but unfortunately, price did not do that. So what did price do? Price broke to the downside. Okay, so remember, we need to stay neutral, guys. You see, price broke to the downside and then it formed a flag. That's a flag, a continuation. So that's what we're looking at now. So now, since the trend changed and price moved out of this structure here, we now change the trend, and we're still in an uptrend, but within that uptrend, there are different opportunities that we can be able to look at. If you want, you do this in such a way, do like that. So now you understand that we're still within the same descending channel. Okay, so we are in a descending channel, and you can be able to mark up certain structures that show how this really played out. Okay, there we had head and shoulder pattern inside there, guys. I don't know if you can be able to see it. So sometimes you need to just be able to look at these things and understand as to why price behaved in a certain manner and why price behaved in that particular way. So for me, I can be able to see and understand that this is more reasons as to why price sold out here, because we had this daily head and shoulder pattern, and we had just touched the resistance area there. We rejected very nicely. That's a very good rejection. Remember, this is on the daily. If you go to the 4-hour, there is so much information in this price action right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 4-hour so we can be able to see exactly what was happening. And look at this. This was the flag. So every time we're looking for these patterns, guys, when we want to trade, either you're in an uptrend, you're looking for continuation patterns. If you're in a downtrend, you're also looking for continuation pattern. Overall, when you're in a consolidation, you're also looking for structures and patterns that price is actually giving you. So you look at what is price. So this, for other people, this would be a consolidation. For me, and the style that I use, I look at this just as a correction. Okay, just much bigger correction pattern. So this is the same, more or less the same thing with this, what is here, this small correction here. Now this is just a bigger version of that. So this is a bigger version of that. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna go to the 4-hour so we can see more price action until we can go to our entry. Okay, so you can see, like, every time you look at a chart, guys, you're looking for clues, you're looking for patterns and what's price been doing. Look at why do you think price bought from these areas? Okay, why price bought in those areas? First thing I can see, what we had a feel, sort of a feel like an ending structure pattern there, but within that, I can say we was about to create an expanding triangle, right? This initially should have been a continuation from here, like from this level here. Look at what price did from here to there, and from there to there, sort of like an arc, and then price should have actually sold to come to these areas, but price didn't do that. Okay, price didn't do that. So what do? We need to play around with what price is showing us and not to do what we want price to do. So already here now I can see a reversal pattern, an inverse head and shoulder. Okay, guys, you can see that these things are forming a lot on Aussie dollar. Okay, that's your inverse head and shoulder pattern. You can see why. And because this was an expanding triangle and we could have expected for more momentum to the downside. Okay, but the only argument and confluence and aspects that change this whole trend is this here. Look at this, guys. So remember, if your movement is 80% corrective, we are still in a what? We are still in a correction. Okay, it's still a correction. So look at how we corrected here. What did we form? This is a falling wedge. Okay, so within that expanding triangle, price failed to break to the low, created the resistance there. You can say there is a resistance area here. I mean, sorry, there's a support area here. You can see this support area where price was bouncing back from and couldn't break that support area. And then within, when price was actually behaving that type of manner, it created what? A falling wedge, and the falling wedge is a bullish reversal pattern. That is why price bought. And you can see here also we formed a continuation pattern. Okay, that's a continuation pattern, just a much bigger version of that. This is just a much bigger version of a flag. It's still a flag, but it's just a much bigger version of a flag. Okay, so that's what that's it about that price price pattern there that I wanted to just explain to you. Now I want to just move quickly to today's entry and how I took my entry. So now I forecasted, guys. So it's very important forecasting your charts and have all these drawings and trend lines and patterns on your chart, because that helps you see price for what it is, and it helps you to see from where you're coming from, how have your patterns been playing out. Okay, so now when I took this, I looked at this price, I looked at this, guys. This is a falling wedge. Okay, and already here we was looking for what? Already here we was looking for a bullish reversal. Okay, with this falling wedge we was looking for what? For a bullish, for bullish movement. Okay, because now look at how price just created that falling wedge right there. Okay, and then you know that a falling wedge is a bullish reversal pattern, so you'll be waiting for price to break above these areas. So this would have been a very solid buy if price, the way it came, broke right and closed above that structure there. So if price broke and closed above that structure, even the way it did, and then came back, I like this candlestick that was here. Look at how good that doji was. Okay, that's a pin bar. You can say a hammer. It's a hammer actually. Sorry guys, it's a hammer. Look at that candle, was so good. So what was supposed to happen at that point, at that area, was for price to impulsively move to the upside, at least come into these areas, and then from those areas we'd expect another pullback. Okay, once when you get that pullback, and then we can expect some form of continuation. You can expect some form of continuation pattern there forming. So once when that continuation pattern forms, then we can move to that side. So this would have been the best scenario to see happening, okay, on Aussie dollar. Okay, guys, why I'm trying to explain this, because I want us to understand that just because we had the falling wedge doesn't mean price is just gonna buy exactly right away. Okay, we need to also look at what is now happening. If price has failed to break above those areas, what is really happening? What is the structure that we are seeing? So the structure we're seeing here, guys, is okay. So the structure we are seeing here is that price failed to break those highs, go up there to correct this falling wedge. Already, obviously, we was going to look for a 90% correction. That would be our TP. Our TP would be right in these areas. That is if price was to give us what we were looking for, right? Our TP would be right in these areas. That's where our TP will be. But now, so price moved back into this level, and now we can see that we've got a different type of structure here. What type of structure are we having? So remember, this is 4 hour, guys. Now we see that we are having an ascending channel. So price has failed to create much bullish momentum there, and it starts to form an ascending channel, more like a continuation now, because this is what has happened. We've just pushed impulsively to the downside, and then we've started to correct. So it's what? Impulse, correction, and continuation, guys. Remember, it's just 3 phases. We're looking at 3 phases only. We're just looking at 3 phases. To be able to identify what direction of bias take, and how we can be able to just be able to take opportunities when we jump in on the charts and see and do our analysis, guys. So yeah, so this is now on the 4 hour. So this is where my concentration was. Okay, I feel like I'm explaining a lot of stuff here. Okay, guys, so this is where my concentration was now. Okay, so now I see that we've got a continuation pattern. We've got an ascending channel, which is a bearish reversal pattern. So I started to look for entries within these areas because remember today was a very important day on the market. So we was just waiting for the news to come out, and then you can take the overall direction of bias. Okay, so I'll go to the 1 hour so that I can just be able to show you guys what I was looking at. Okay. So this is what I came to now. I looked at my structure and I saw this structure. What happened with this structure? Look at how beautiful this structure was. Okay. Not the cleanest, but because I'm breaking through price because whatever that happened here, I don't know what happened here, but just price impulse, and then the next thing again it impulse down. So I'm breaking through that price just to show you that we had a very nice ascending channel here, and right within that ascending channel we had like an arc here, price sold. So what do we see? What do we see, guys? We had multiple touches. 1, 2, 3. We had already 3 touches. 1, 2, 3. We've already reached the 3 touch method. So we'll be looking for now just digging deeper onto smaller time frame to be able to find entries, guys. Okay. So now I knew what I was looking for already here, despite the fact that I was still waiting for the news to be able to just have the overall momentum. Okay. Remember, the news only creates more volatility, but it doesn't really change so much on the structure of the price. Okay. So this is the structure overall for Aussie dollar. And we had an impulse and then the correction and then impulse again. And we just got a nice 1 hour flag. Okay. So remember, because this was a tricky one, you could have entered it right in these areas, but it was a very tricky one. If you didn't enter it from these areas where it formed more like a double top, here there is like a double top, and that was the first entry, this was the second entry, and then this is the third entry now. Okay, so this is the third entry in a sense that this is a very much reduced risk entry. Okay, but it's only tricky because now you have to trade this news based on the NFP. So what that means is, so when the NFP comes out, if the results are negative, that means they affect the dollar. Okay, so the dollar gets affected, and then it will any dollar currency pairs will be positively reacting to the market. Okay, that simply means that the dollar will lose value, and other currencies are going to gain value over it. So what happened today was that the NFP report came positive, so the dollar had strength. Okay, so that being said, that means that if the dollar had strength and you are trading Aussie dollar, which the Aussie is the major currency, then the dollar is the base currency. That means you'd be expecting the Aussie dollar to sell and instead of buying. Okay, so right about now, I'm just gonna place a replay button there, guys. I just want you guys to be able to feel like it's a bit too fast. Because I want to just show you guys my entry there. Okay, so that's the okay. Okay, this was too quick, guys, because I had done an entry here that I wanna just show you guys. At an entry, let's say we go to the 15 minutes. I hope we're gonna get the replay button there. Okay, so because on the 15 minutes now, the structure is very much clear. You can see what I was looking at, guys. We had a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flag pattern there, a continuation pattern. And my entry was right about in these areas here. I was waiting for price to at least give us a third touch, okay? Just to form another top part of a flag, then I would be confident in taking my position. But that being said, I was still waiting for the news to come out. Okay. Okay. I want you guys to look at what was happening with this price. And now I took my entry. Okay. Meanwhile, yep. So the secret with NFP news. So guys, you see this candle, this is when NFP news came out. So what usually happens with NFP news is you wait for the candle to close. Okay. So what that means is if the candle opens, like it opens bearish, you wait for the retracement of that bearish momentum and then enter for a sell. Okay, so what you're looking for here is a sell. Already the structure was supporting our bias direction, our overall bias direction. So what we was waiting for is what? Just the candle close and then we enter our position. The retracement of that candle is where you enter your entry. Okay. Sorry guys, this is just it's too fast, you know, because I had a very perfect entry that I want to just share with you guys. Okay, that candle was so quick, you know. Then when it retraced, right when it retraced, that's when I had my entry, guys. I had my entry just after the price retraced. I know that's where my entry was. So my entry was there, and then my stop loss was above that candle because I knew that price is not gonna go back to that area again because we've already retraced. Okay, and then I was targeting. These lows here. Why was I targeting those lows, guys? Because this was the overall what? Not this, not that area. This is the 90% correction for that structure. That's the low I was targeting and looking at. Okay, and then the rest of the positions was just gonna lock in manually. Okay, so that was my entry on NFP, guys. So the secret to how to enter your position on NFP is you wait for the retrace candle to close and then you enter the position. At the close of the retrace candle, you enter your position. So this was quite a very wide stop loss, but I'll show you just how I was managing that. Okay, guys. So when price wicked out and created this candle here, I moved my stop loss much smaller. Okay, because now I knew that we had so much momentum in the market. If price was going to reverse back, I would rather lose less because I was waiting for a new structure to form before I can bring my price, my stop onto break even. So I was waiting for the structure to form, the new structure level to form. And then I was just holding that position, played a little bit with my emotions when it reached this support level here. I was just holding my position, guys. So Their price was playing there, playing a bit, playing a bit. And then I moved my position to break even. I remember then I left the house. I wasn't there anymore to manage my trade, to just let it run. Okay, I believe this is where we actually closed on Aussie dollar, guys. So overall, I closed my position because I don't feel comfortable leaving my position running over the weekend, because you don't know what's gonna happen over the weekend, and the market can just open and the gaps out and you'll be out of your position, you know. So I've already closed this position. So Monday, we'll see what happens on Sunday night when the market opens, because now we've already forming a continuation pattern there, as you can see, and it's forming right. So we're already having a continuation pattern that is forming just right below the support line, okay, or it's on the support line actually. So if this continuation pattern can play out, then to be a good continuation, we might be able to look for more opportunities to take positions as well. But other than that, you can see what we are forming here also looks like an arc. So this might be a little bit tricky because we are forming that, and then price might end up going up. Okay, so those are just the things to look out for those guys that might be entering these positions on Sunday. But the best day I think would be Monday to see if price can make a much bigger correction. Okay, because we've had such a very strong bearish momentum. So obviously you would be looking for a much bigger correction here. So you have 1, 2. Okay. So that would be very nice if we can have a much bigger correction and then price can sell off. Okay. Other than that, if we don't get something like that, then obviously definitely we're going to be moving back up because we've already touched the support. We might be coming to these areas or reversing as well. So that was it, guys, on Aussie dollar. That's the trade I had. I banked about 6% on that position, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I banked on. So it was a good trade. So I only took 2 trades. I'm gonna jump in the other trade that I took, which is the other trade I took is USD JPY. Why I took USD JPY? Because I knew that the dollar was gaining more strength. So hence USD JPY was gonna buy. And the structure that we had overall on USD JPY was a very good structure. I've been looking at that structure for quite some time now. So that is why I was very confident to trade USD JPY despite where the structure was and what was happening with price. Okay, so on USD JPY, I'm just gonna do a quick one. Okay, we're not gonna take so much time. So USD JPY for the past 4 weeks, yeah, should be past 4 weeks, I've been able to really capitalize on USD JPY a lot. I had a lot of positions on USD JPY. I had a position on USD JPY and I had my entry from there, which was a sniper entry, and I was holding that trade up until those areas there. I was holding that trade. I literally entered from those areas when USD JPY was literally there. Okay, when USD JPY was literally there, I had my position there. Okay, guys, I had my position there on USD JPY. before all this price formed. That was my first trade. My first trade I took on USDJPY. That time, I had a risk entry there simply because I saw how price was correcting here. Remember, we were already at the resistance trend line. We were at our resistance trend line, and I understood what was happening with the overall structure, which was an ascending channel, which is a bearish reversal pattern. So I was looking for a risk entry because it had more rewards. So I actually, this trade, I can remember I entered it, I think past 12, past midnight. That's when I entered this position here. And then show you what happened with USDJPY. It was an instant execution, right? Right there. When I saw this right here, I entered right at the break of that. The break of that, that's when I entered that trade. At the break of that, I was in it. I was in on the trade, and then I held it. I even went to sleep after I took this position. I went to sleep. I let price do what it was doing, and yes, DJPY was selling, man. It was selling. Was selling like big time. It was a very good trade. This was a very good trade. It was a very good trade, you know. You can see, guys, the way it was moving. Let me make this a bit faster. I was holding that trade, bro. I was holding it. At these areas, I actually moved my stop loss, you know, a little bit into profits because of the nature of how we were dropping down. We started to drop very correctively. So I was just concerned that maybe price might push back up. Okay, but I was still holding because I was confident in the overall structure that we had on USDJPY that particular time. And at some areas I was actually scaling in, and you know, I was scaling in. I did scaling, did some scaling on USDJPY. You know, I closed this position right at these areas, and the other scale in positions I closed them as well. So that was about it that time on USDJPY. You know, that's how I had that trade, and I still had other trades positions that I took when this structure was forming right here. Okay, when that structure was forming, we were just paying attention and seeing what price would do. Let's go back to that structure now. Okay, so I wanted to explain something that right here, I had also capitalized on other positions on USDJPY. I did take position on this move because what I had noticed on USDJPY was price giving us similar structures. Okay, so price ended up giving us similar structure. So look at how this structure here was identical to this structure here. Okay, so that I cannot unless if I flip it that way. Okay, this structure here was very similar. This was a very similar structure, and then I saw that we was going to actually make it to these highs, and the fact that I had anticipated that we was making a head and shoulder pattern. Okay, so that's how I was able to actually capitalize on this move. But overall, what I was looking for price to do from these areas to here was to make a double top, and then we can sell off. And we did that. We did make a double top there, but we didn't reach that high. We made the double top and we still sort of. So even when price was selling now at this particular time, you can see price action again and patterns within structures, and structures within patterns and all that stuff. This is an inverse head and shoulder pattern, guys. You can see, sorry, it's just a normal head and shoulder, which is a bearish reversal pattern. Okay, it was there, great confirmation. And another interesting thing is there was this price action that was happening here that was very, very interesting. I had seen this and I was saying to a friend, you know what I'm seeing on USDJPY is some similarities with structure. Okay, I was like, look at this, it was exactly like that. Okay, so when this formed here and this formed here, okay, and this price formed here, I was thinking to myself, wow, this is very identical. This is very, very identical. What could be the most possible thing to happen here? Even though we was at those areas, we was at these areas and expecting for a match. So from at these areas, we was expecting for a match, perhaps a much bullish momentum. Okay, we was expecting for price to actually push up. So from this level here, was expecting for price to push up, but I was very neutral on that move simply because I saw what happened with this previous price pattern like this, with what happened with this price. I saw what happened with this price and how, you see how identical it was and what price did when it came and formed, sort of like it was dropping very correctively. So I almost knew we was going to drop. Okay, that's my bias. Was like I was very neutral and telling myself, if I get a break above, then I'm gonna buy, but if I could get a close below, I'm going to sell it. So I actually took that sell there simply because of that, in looking at how price was behaving and the similarity with those patterns. And the same patterns, this same pattern, I'll show you guys. It was on this same pattern that is here. It was there on Cardian. Okay, let me quickly show you. The same pattern was on Cardian, guys. You see, is it Cardian or GJ? Is one that was very, very similar. Either GU. No. I'm looking for the pattern, guys. I wanted to show you which pair was very similar with UJ that had formed the similar structure. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Is GJ. Okay, so GJ at the similar structure with UJ, just that GJ was, the price patterns were a little bit big. Okay, so I even caught a sell here also. Look at how identical this was. Okay, for 3 times I was busy focusing this and seeing the same thing. Look at how that was, how that was. That's how I caught these trades in these areas, guys, because I had noticed that price was very identical in these areas here. It did the same thing for 3 times, forming the same price, the same structures for 3 times. Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys on that, just to show you that it helps a lot if you're looking at a certain pattern and you're looking at certain pairs for a long time, you're starting to identify certain things in them, okay? And it helps you a lot. It helps you a lot in cutting the losses, okay? So it helps you a lot to cut the losses because now you can understand how the price is moving and how that particular pair tends to be. So that was it with USDJPY, guys. I feel like it really respects patterns and structures, and just the way I trade it, find it very easy because I can really identify my patterns. I can really identify my structure, and yeah. So moving on to USDJPY and how I took my position. So I was already looking at USDJPY. I wasn't really sure I was gonna trade it because just simply because of the areas where we were already on USDJPY. I was thinking, how would price behave in these areas? Would the risk ratio reward would be very, very tight, but I had seen this here, guys. Okay. You see what we had on USDJPY. We had the inverse head and shoulder there, which was showing that, okay, this is more continuation to the upside. Unlike if we had, so this was better because it was an inverse head and shoulder there forming in the right areas. Unlike if we had just a pattern that is correcting like that, and then, you know, if it was a pattern correcting like that, moving to the upside, that would have been a different story because then that pattern would have been a rising wedge and we would have been looking forward for selling opportunities. So if that was the pattern, more like a rising wedge, we would have been looking for selling opportunities at the break of that structure, stop loss above that structure, and we would be looking for a sell below, okay? Because already you would look at this as we've already moved almost more or less just 50% of that falling wedge. Okay. But looking at the way the structure was, I was very, very confident that somehow USDJPY was gonna buy, and my confluence was due to the fact that the dollar had gained strength due to the NFP report. So, but I waited to have a break above this structure, okay? So I just didn't enter this position even when it presented itself at these areas because I wasn't sure of how price will behave when it reaches this level here, okay? I wasn't sure how price would behave when it reaches this level. It might just create a mini double top and then sell off, or maybe it might consolidate there for a long time. So what I was waiting for was a breakout above that structure, and then I can look for an entry. Wow, that was a very strong breakout, guys, but it's too quick. I wanted to show you where my entry was, okay? That was too quick and too fast. Actually, this breakout was very, very slow. Even when the news was out, even when the NFP news came out, the price was moving very slow. That is why I was even able to catch it because the USDJPY, it didn't really create a retrace candle for entry like like the way the NFP usually does on other pairs. It gives you an opportunity for entry once when price retraces. But USDJPY didn't really create a retracement. So I entered right at those areas and my stop loss guess was below that structure. I knew that anything below that structure, then it's violating the overall trend. Okay, that's where my stop loss was. And on this trade, target is those highs there. Okay, so that's how we impulsively moved into profits on USDJPY on NFP news. So guys, that's how the trade was for today. It's your boy Kichepe FX. Once again, please, I'm gonna just upload this on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe for more content and more lessons. Okay, guys. So I'm signing out. Thank you.